For this series, you'll need a tennis ball. A strap is useful. I'm using a kettlebell for some anchoring and a block just as kind of an extra prop. Placing the tennis ball under the front leg, you're going to strap the back heel, and you are going to start with 3 internal rotation pails rails. So lifting the leg into your full passive flexibility, finding a good amount of tension with the upper, and driving the foot towards the ground. You want to pull hard with the arm so that you can get a big push with the leg. Second, for rails, is getting light in the band and trying to hold your foot in place. You should feel the outer hip there. You'll reset and push back down for your second pails, working as hard as you can, and then getting light in the hands, using the outer hip to hold the foot up. Make sure the leg's kicked back into extension there. You'll do your third pails, pushing down to your safest, greatest effort. And then lastly, getting light and lifting and doing your best to hold the foot there. You'll ditch the strap, and I'm using my block here just as kind of a benchmark. We are going to go into some extension kicks. So driving the tennis ball down with the front knee, making sure that that is maintaining pressure and extending back as far as you can with the back leg. Again, I'm using that kettlebell for leverage. You can also go hands off the ground or hands on the ground. We're going through 5 of those. Next up, we're going into IR hinges. So pressing down with the front knee into the tennis ball and prying the back knee open. Arms off the ground is harder. Hands on the ground is a little bit easier. You should feel the outer glute of the back leg working. Trying to keep the leg pretty far behind you into extension. We'll do 5 of those. Next up, we're lifting and rotating. Prying the knee wide once you touch, lifting off from there, rotating and kicking the leg behind you. Lifting the whole leg off the ground, rotating, trying to put the foot in place of the knee, and the knee in place with the foot. Arms off the ground is harder. I'm using the kettlebell again for leverage. Fight for height. Pry the knee back as open as you can. Lift from there and kick back. I'm using my arm to get a little passive range and then trying to hold that. I'm going to show you the front side. This is the same side, but now I'm just giving you a view of the front. You want the tennis ball to smash under the front knee, and we are going to start rotating at the hip to tension the glutes. Arms off the ground is a little bit harder. You're trying to anteriorly rotate the pelvis. You should feel like a stretch in the front leg glute, and that should feel like pretty hard work. Maintaining force through the front knee as you go through these, and just pushing yourself back up to neutral. You don't need to work on the way up. We're going through 5 of these. Hands on the hips can be a good way to give a feel of whether you're moving at the pelvis or more rounding at the back. This should light up your backside. Next, we're going to put the ball in the front of the hip crease, and you are going to lean as far forward as you can. Think again from rotating from the pelvis. From there, we're trying to lift the leg off of the ground. You want to reset, find as much stretch in the back side of that hip as possible. Try to pull off from there Might not look like it, but I am trying to lift from the lowest part of the stretch as possible. We'll do 5 of those. Lifting, 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 lifting. Inner thigh, hip flexor should feel like it's working here. Getting a good stretch on the outer hip to start. And then we are going to go into some pails and rails here. So you're going to round as far forward as you can, and you're going to drive the whole front leg down into the ground. Taking your hands off of the ground is going to make that harder. My rails is trying to lift the leg up from the deepest part of that stretch. I'm going to find my flexibility here, and I'm going to drive the whole front leg, knee and ankle together. Rails is trying to lift up, and I'll do 1 more pails here, driving down, driving down, driving down. You can take your arms off of the ground to load that front glute more, and then push, push, push to try and get your lift. Misery, and repeat on the other side.